Question. Do you think our cash cab friend, the alien, has drawn the inference to the best explanation for what we human beings are? In other words, he's landed on Earth. He makes these observations of humans. He listens to them. He watches them. Maybe he's dissected them. But he's explored them in and out. And he has come to the conclusion that we are all just meat. Just meat. We talk by flapping our meat. We move around in space and grab objects like water cans by moving our meat. Well, this is starting to sound kind of gross. But this is what he's saying, right? We're just meat. There's nothing else there. I haven't observed, he would say, I haven't observed anything that would lead me to the conclusion that there's something to them that's more than meat or beyond meat. Beyond burger. He's saying, I think you're a human because as a human, you're just meat and you possess only the properties that are associated with meat. You don't possess any other types of properties that I can see are associated with something that's non-meat. But of course, you and I probably bristle at this idea of the just, right? Like maybe we go with like, okay, I'll give you that we are meat. But I'm not willing to give you that we're only meat. We're just meat. That we're lacking some property that would make me more than just, meat that I might buy at a grocery store. I'm not willing to go that far. I think I'm more than meat. I think I'm meat and then some. All right, he says, well, lay it on me. What do you know that I don't know about all of these human beings that lead you to the conclusion that they're not just meat, that they're more than meat? So one thing we could do, it's sort of dishonest, not dishonest, it's not fair, is we could just flip the question back on him. Right? Well, you obviously believe you're more than just meat. What makes you more than just meat? But that's a kind of unfair tactic because he's made his case, right? He's made his case. He says, I have a claim. The claim is that human beings are just meat, and I've given you reasons. I've given you, here's my observations of them. Here's what I discovered in dissecting them and studying everything there is to know about them. And I don't see any evidence or any reason that would justify a conclusion that they are not just meat, that they're more than just meat. So if we flip this question back to him, we're not supporting our own claim, right? So you want to watch out when people do this to you in debates. They make a claim that you disagree with, and you put the challenge on you, and instead of accepting the challenge, you put the challenge right back on them, and that's not really fair. If you disagree with what somebody says, the burden is on you to explain why you think they're wrong. All right, so we're going to avoid this tactic. We're not just going to flip it back on him. We're actually going to offer him an explanation. So what's your explanation? What makes you think we're more than just meat? And maybe you say, well, I think I'm more than just meat because I possess properties that aren't possessed by meat. And we might go back to that thought experiment that we did earlier where we create a list of properties that we might associate with objects, physical objects like round, green, those kinds of things. And then we create another list of properties that we would associate with non-material kinds of things like fears, mental states, right? Fears, desires, clever, those kinds of things. And we might say, you see, I possess all of these properties. And as that thought experiment shows, these properties of physical and non-physical things, they're not really interchangeable. They don't work. You can't reverse them without coming up with something that's just nonsense. So this leads me to the conclusion that I'm not just meat. I possess properties that meat doesn't possess. I experience things that the steak on my counter doesn't experience, or that the hamburger at the grocery store, it's not experiencing desire or fear, maybe to not be overcooked. Oh God, that's a bad joke. Okay, so maybe another option is this. Look, I create things. I make decisions. I have the ability to choose from among a number of different options. Meat doesn't do that. It just kind of is. It doesn't do these kinds of things. Meat doesn't create stuff. It doesn't design things. It doesn't write poetry. It doesn't choose what restaurant to go to for dinner. So you can see I have capacities that meat doesn't have, so I'm more than just meat. Is there a better explanation? So one group of folks is going to say, nope, none of those work. And this group of folks are called the physicalists. Physicalism is a theory that says this: the only things that have ever existed, exist now, and will ever exist are physical things, because reality is constituted of exactly one type of thing, matter. And that's all that exists. And so this makes physicalism a monist theory. It excludes the possibility of the existence of non-material things like minds or souls. And it says that the only things that exist are brains, not minds. And importantly, very importantly for physicalists, everything that exists, because physical things are the only things that exist, everything that exists are subject to the physical laws of the universe. And importantly for us, we'll see, that includes this principle: everything that occurs is caused to occur. Nothing just happens. We like to say that, oh, it came out of nowhere. Or we'll say things like, it just happened, I don't know. And the physicalist is going to say, well, yeah, you don't know, but it didn't just happen. A tree falls, and we might not know what the cause of the tree falling was, but it had a cause. It just didn't all of a sudden spontaneously fall without a cause. Maybe it was a bug infestation that weakened it, or maybe it's a strong wind, or somebody chopped it down in the middle of the night, or hit it with a crane, causing it to tumble over. But there was a cause. Now, this is going to have really profound implications for our exploration of our sense of self and consciousness, and these concepts of mind and brain and free will. Physicalism is going to have very powerful implications for whether or not it's logically possible to hold that physicalism is true and also believe that we have the ability to make decisions freely. And then there's going to be implications for that further. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sort of explore physicalism and see what would also have to be true if physicalism were true.